Hello viewers, I'm putting out a video today about used guns because new guns are great, but what about buying used? Today I'm going to explain to you why buying used might be the smarter move you can make as a gun owner. First point I want to make is cost savings. So here's a Glock 19, but next to me here is a Glock 36. Now this is a single stack 45. And a new Glock 36 retails at gun stores for, on average, $549.99. That is of today on Sportsman's Warehouse. You might be able to find them a little cheaper or a little bit more expensive in other retailers. So I've recently picked up this Glock 36 about last week or the week before for $350. $200 off retail. Now, that cost savings to me is important and very, honestly, it's kind of unbelievable. $200 off. Now, this particular gun here had been test fired by the gun store, but had never been shot previous to that. Now, on inspecting this, there is no signs of wear. There are no holster marks. Brand new magazines. So I think it is an incredible value. My second point, there is more budget for other gear. Here is a Glock 43X, very popular these days. A new Glock 43X retails for about $580, give or take, again, price between different gun shops. I've picked this one up used for $425. And as you can see, I put the new Olight O-Sight S on this. Now, from $580 to $425, we have, $150 savings. This sight here is $230. So by buying this gun used, I can get this new red dot sight, place it on the gun for just over the cost of a new handgun. And again, no signs of wear. I do believe this one was shot, but I've put more rounds through it than the previous owner, and it still looks amazing. Another point that I want to make is there might be some upgrades that are already included. Here's a car. This is a CT40, a single stack 40 cal. And this particular gun doesn't have any upgrades, but I wanted to show a different one. A lot of the used guns that you can see at different gun shops have upgraded triggers. Some might have different barrels. They might have an extended slide release. They may have different upgraded sights from, True Glow. It's a popular company, or Ameriglow, or, night sights, or fiber optic, tritium, something different than standard factory developed sights that, honestly, depending on the price, they may be included in that price. It may make the price of the used gun go up a little bit, but it is still significantly cheaper than buying those upgrades yourself. So that's absolutely something to look forward to. And a lot of the time, people buy extra magazines, and when they sell their gun, they're not going to keep the extra magazines. They will generally sell them to the gun store for, 20% of what they paid. And the gun store will then either try to sell them in like a bargain bin, or they'll include them with that handgun again. And this car here, from the factory, I believe, comes with 1 or 2 magazines, but the guy who had turned this into the gun store, he had 3. So I got an extra mag out of it. Now this car here, I think this one would be a great option for newer shooters, or for some people who want to expand the variety of firearm that they have in their home. This car here was an absolute steal at $250. I mean, again, hardly shot, no signs of wear, nothing. A great gun. You would not be able to put this firearm next to another new one and be able to tell the difference. One other point that I want to make is buying used allows you to buy guns that aren't currently in production. Here's the old model Glock 48 with a silver slide. Pretty neat. Glock does not make these new anymore. And sure, we don't have some of the features, like maybe the the accessory rail on the bottom. I believe this does not have the new Glock Marksman barrel. This has the standard performance Glock barrel. But again, I think it's cool to get a Glock with a silver slide. And of course, you can go aftermarket and purchase different slides for your firearm, but to have a factory made gun that is different than what they're currently producing or don't produce anymore, I think that's something neat. And this might appeal more to a collector that wants this particular model. I want to make mention that as soon as you buy a new gun, even if you don't shoot it, it's immediately lost depreciation. So buying used, you have that savings already built in. If you were to sell that used gun again, you probably would get the same price or very close to the same price that you paid when you bought it. Because again, the shops have to make money, but you're not going to take as big of a hit if you bought new and then sold it back to the store in used condition. I want to talk about some tips for buying. I'm going to bring the Glock 19 back over here. I picked this one up, and this is very much a range training tool. I typically don't carry the 19. I have before, but it's not something that I generally do. But when you're purchasing a used handgun, first always buy from a reputable dealer. Buy from someone, a gun store that you trust, that you can look on reviews, that show other people's experience with this store. Maybe go into the store, not planning to buy anything, but talk to the people who are working and see if how knowledgeable they are, if they feel like you can trust them as a customer. One of the things that I absolutely recommend first, when you get to handle a firearm in the store, is check for signs of wear. Check for holster marks. Very common on handguns is going to be this top section here. It's going to look silvery, especially in a black slide. It'll look silvery and worn down. Now, this particular model does not have that, but something to look out for. Another one is any scratching. I do have a scratch that should be able to be seen here at the top of the slide. Now, you are going to have normal wear. Some of the internal parts of this will have signs of wear if it was shot, but that's good. That means the break-in period for this handgun has been done or is near being done. Handguns shoot better when they've had rounds put through them. And that is something that you won't have to do buying used as if you were buying new. Now, the other thing I recommend is that you take these firearms apart. Now, when you're taking them apart, you could do that yourself at the gun store. Or if you don't feel comfortable or you feel awkward taking apart a gun, always ask for permission first. But if you feel awkward about it, even if they give you the go-ahead, you can always ask the worker to go ahead and take it apart for you, and then you can inspect the parts. Again, look for signs of wear, inside, internally. Look for any pieces that might be broken or damaged. Have them take the spring out, have them take the barrel out, so they can show you, and you can inspect the barrel. Look at the barrel. If it's clean, there's no signs of wear, there's no rust, there's no pitting, it might be a good purchase for you. But again, there's a lot of options out there, and I just wanted to put this video out to shed some light on that. I'm sure there's other videos on YouTube, but I figured I'd make my own. But used guns, definitely a great option for new buyers or experienced buyers alike.